Inside of today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the most underrated and overrated brawlers right now in the meta. Ever since balance changes, the metas shift a little bit, and especially since playing on my mini account and my main, there's a couple of underrated and overrated brawlers for sure in the Power League rotation. So also, before we get into the video, I'm streaming every single day on YouTube around 5 PM BST time, so make sure to check that out. And without further ado, let's jump into it. Guys, jumping into the first really underrated brawler, which in my opinion is probably the most underrated right now in the competitive meta. It is with Jessie. So people are finally starting to realize the value in Jessie, and she's really solid. I think my favorite game mode with her for sure is going to be gem grab, just because she's just a solid mid overall. A lot of the times she's not really countered by those aggressive brawlers, and of course that is one type of brawler that you want to be very careful of when you're of course the gem carrier. Like, you think of other mid brawlers, you think of like Mr. P, Jean, Gus, they're all very vulnerable to tanks, whilst Jessie isn't vulnerable to tanks, and also a good counter to some of those mid brawlers as well. I think Jessie's pretty good against Gus, pretty good against Jean, and somewhat decent against Mr. P as well. So yeah, I really like Jessie right now in the meta, and you're definitely seeing her picked up a lot more in competitive when it comes down to gem grab. Of course, she's pretty solid when it comes down to hot zone as well. She's always been a pretty solid brawler there. You're able to get a lot of control with the turret, and I just think overall people were just sleeping on her ever since Unbreakable Walls. Unbreakable Walls has given so much more value to her turret. You can make it survive for so long, and people just simply can't just break the wall that the turret, Jessie turret, is behind. So you're able to get so much more value. You can see here again, I'm just able to energize or use my star power, energize, heal it up, and it's going to be even more annoying for the opponents to deal with. So unfortunately, I'm in a bit of a tough situation here. We've got the Surge pushing up, so I'm just going to wait for this Mr. P porter to reveal the position. He's got 3 gems. I need those gems, and we can start the countdown. Nice, we're able to get that. And also, Jessie's actually risen up in the meta because she's a decent counter to Tara. She can pretty much free shot a Tara. I think she leaves Tara at like 100 HP. That's a big reason. She's really strong in heist right now. I've seen her a lot in Kaboom Canyon, for example. Even seen her in Safe Zone, and she's been used as a mid in Brawl as well. I think she's really good across the board right now. People are definitely sleeping on the Jessie. Of course, don't go shocky in heist, and you'll be able to win a lot of games. So that's the first underrated. Let's hop into the next one. All right, guys, so now jumping into another underrated brawler. It is with my boy Rico. So again, a little bit of bias might come into this one, but I believe I did put him on my overrated list not too long ago. I just think that he was so easy to counter, especially with just so many aggressive brawlers, and even tanks could counter Rico. But now that is not the story. Multiple launcher was buffed at the beginning of this update, beginning of this season, and ever since I've really been loving Rico, especially when it comes down to heist and pit stop. He's probably the best first pick option, honestly. He deletes so many different brawlers, and even Edgar, for example, cannot counter Rico anymore because you can press the gadget, and literally every single bullet that hits out of your gadget deals 800 damage. That is just insane. You can shred tanks now, you can shred Edgar and shred your counters. So I just feel like he's a lot more viable. Of course, literally the only reason why he wasn't viable was because of the fact that just so many assassins were able to have a field day on him. So we need to focus up here. Looks like the enemies are about to get a countdown, so hopefully we can turn things around. Right here, we've not really been doing the best whatsoever, but we should be able to get the Shelly down. Should be able to get the Crow down as well. And somehow this is just daylight robbery. I have no idea how we're ending up winning this game. I haven't really put on a good performance, but trust me, Rico is definitely somewhat underrated in gem grab. I feel like you can finally start using him. You don't have to be scared of tanks anymore. Of course, if they draft a tank, you can swap over to this gadget, and if they don't, you can just use Bouncy Castle, because that already is one of the best gadgets in the game. So for me, he's definitely a lot more versatile. People need to stop sleeping on him. Multiple launcher is actually really good. Let's hop into the next one. All right, guys, so jumping into the final underrated brawler, it is actually Sam. So unfortunately, I've got this Leon 3 times in a row now. I just can't seem to win with him. But anyways, I think Sam is a very underrated brawler within the meta. Of course, putting up my personal bias aside, because I don't know, I seem to hate Sam on this channel just because I just can't seem to play him myself. But a good Sam player can absolutely make Sam work. So hopefully we can get the stun here on Tara. Should be able to take her down. Spamming auto aim a bit too hard there, so was able to lose my dusters. I'm just going to throw out my super here, hopefully at least kill the Janet. Again, I lose my super. Just don't watch my Sam gameplay. If you want to learn how to play Sam, watch some competitive, watch some Lenane, watch Mewtwo in Power League. watch Angel Boy. There's a lot of really good Sam players out there, and I'm just not one of them. Unfortunate for you guys, but I'm able to pick up quite a few gems here. Janet's not going to be able to deal enough damage against me, so anyone that has low DPS, Sam's going to be incredible against. He's normally picked as like a last pick. He can work pretty much everywhere. That is the beautiful thing about good Sam players. So unfortunately, it's not looking too good right now. This Janet turret is definitely causing us some issues. Of course, my teammates get double pulled there, which is a pain, but we're going to be able to heal up. Hopefully we can sneak around the side. There definitely is a crow lurking. Should be able to kill him pretty quickly. Janet, not too sure what she's really doing there with her super. We might be able to take her down here with the help of a gadget. Okay, no, it looks like a Tara was lurking there as well. I don't know, I've tried so many games with Sam and I just can't seem to win because I'm just terrible. But trust me, he's very underrated, especially since the nerf to Shelly. It's really helped him out in the meta. And also just overall, you know, even other tank counters like Otis, for example, aren't even that strong in this meta. So Sam, for me, definitely one of the most underrated. Really strong right now. Let's hop into Overrated now. Alright guys, so now jumping into the Overrated Brawlers, starting off with one of my main brawlers in Jean. So you know, if I'm putting Jean on this list, that it's definitely in vain because I love Jean. I try as much Jean propaganda as possible, but I don't know, for the longest time now, well, within the last few months, I would say, or the past few metas, I've just not been vibing with a Jean. The main reason being is because I just feel like it's a lot harder to pull brawlers now. Like, of course, there's a lot of brawlers with gadgets that can tank a Jean pull. You know, think of previous metas, for example, you had Penny and Janet. You've now got in the meta Tara, where her pets can just tank so many Jean shots, so many Jean pulls. It's just really annoying to deal with, of course, as a Jean main. And just overall, I just think there hasn't been a Jean meta for a long time. You know, you consider Jean as one of the best mids in gem grab, right? But a lot of the times he's just overpowered by, you know, other support brawlers in the mid, like even Mr. P, for example. Gus is just a lot of better options right now. So I think the only way you make use of Jean at the moment is on like really passive bounty or knockout maps. But still, I would rather just go another brawler. You can think of Gray, for example. Gray isn't that good at scouting, but the thing about Gray, you've got the walking cane where the click of a button, you can essentially pull people and change the game. So that's why you've just seen a lot more Gray in the meta instead of Jean, and he's kind of took the role of Jean in that sense. And again, the only thing I've really considered using him on is, you know, grassy maps, just to literally scout. He's just literally a vision machine. Just to scout the opponents, but he's not really going to do anything. Of course, he doesn't deal too much damage, and just overall, if you miss a pull as well, it takes so long to get that pull back that a lot of times it's not even worth it. So just so many things not going Jean's way. Of course, he's pretty solid in knockout and bounty if you're unsure on what to go, but a lot of the times it's actually just better to go something else. A lot of times you get no kills with Jean. You're just literally sitting there, just healing up your teammates, just trying to scout something, trying to do something, but there's just so many Mr. P porters. It's just everything tanks his pull. I just don't get it. So Jean, I think, is very overrated right now. He's not even like usable in terms of a mid in gem grab or even in Brawl right now, but that's going to be one overrated. Let's hop into the next one. Okay, so jumping into the second most overrated brawler in the meta right now, it is with Shelly. So typically a lot of overrated brawlers are brawlers that have been nerfed recently who are pretty strong, and Shelly definitely goes into that category. So I'm not by any means saying that Shelly is completely useless. I think she's actually much better than she used to be back when she was one of the worst brawlers in the game, because she's still really fast when she's in a, well, of course she's in a bush, but not every map is bushy anymore, and she's only really strong as well when other tank counters are kind of out the equation. Like, you'd rather just go Tara in this meta. You'd rather just go even like a Crow or something a lot safer, and there's still just so many lanes right now that just counter Shelly too much. Again, Tara being one of them. Nita, you know, even Mr. P can be really annoying. Spike, there's just so many different lane brawlers that can beat her now that she's not just literally Lightning McQueen around the map. It's just insane. But again, she's still pretty underrated when it comes to grassy maps. Can be good on sneaky fields, good in Brawl in general now, and I've even seen her use a few times when it comes down to even like knockout. I've seen her use them like Gold Arm Gooch, just sitting in the back using the speed. Can be good towards the end because of Band-Aid, but still, once you run out the gadgets as well, she just gets picked on too easily. She has very limited range, so you've got to make sure that you're using your Band-Aid and your gadgets to hand. But of course, I just think overrated, just because I'm still seeing a lot of people draft her pretty early on. A lot of people still ban her. I don't think you need to ban her. Maybe The only way you need to ban her is if you have last pick yourself and maybe you want to go Sam or another tank. But other than that, I just think she's very overrated by the general public. So for me, one of the most overrated. Let's hop into the final one. Okay, so jumping into the final overrated brawler within the game right now, I've actually gone with Gus. So you might be wondering, well, Spen, you've been saying that Gus is really strong for the longest time. And believe me, I think he is, but this is more aimed at my Power League randoms. I've been playing a lot of Power League at the moment, especially with people from NA, and I just get frustrated because people go like Gus lane, people go Gus mid even when you've already got a mid. People just go Gus everywhere, and you can only really go Gus, I would say, on more defensive game modes and maps, you know, bouncy and knockout. Yeah, you can get away with going a Gus first pick because a lot of times you can just be really passive, but for me, I just think you can't just like first pick Gus everywhere, because again, the opponents can just pick some tanky brawlers, some really aggressive brawlers, and Gus is just going to get countered so easily. So for me, I just think people just need to actually use their brains a lot of times. Don't just brainlessly go Gus every single time, even though again, he is a really strong brawler. He's not always like the go-to all of the time. So Shelly, I don't even know how she got there, by the way. What was she even doing all the way down there? Fortunately, my teammates are able to clean things up. But yeah, I'm not saying that Gus is bad. He's definitely a really good brawler, one of the best right now. I just think he's been overplayed too much, especially like people just think, oh yeah, I can just go Gus. You know, we lose the game, I went Gus. There's no problem there. But trust me, the lack of DPS, you know, I'm thinking as well, like Hot Zone, for example. People will go Gus Hot Zone all of the time, but there's just still so many brawlers and so many like Poco compositions. You know, Doug recently receiving a buff. Rosa, you've got to be careful with Gus now. You've got to be careful with low DPS brawlers because you will get ran all over, and especially if you're going on ladder, there's just going to be so many Rosas, so many Pocos, so many other brawlers like that. So hopefully we don't get robbed right here. Let's see if we're able to... Okay, I don't know what the Cordelius is doing because we really need to kill him, and that isn't the way to do it. I mean, he actually gets the kill right there. Hopefully Arnita can get the takedown with the help of the shield. We're just going to run into this Ems right here, and unfortunately Bruce is just able to tank the gene pool. You absolutely love to see it. I mean, we've popped off on Gus, to be fair. He's actually one of my favorite brawlers, so I'm slandering a lot of my favorite brawlers right now, but this is just more so aimed at my Power League randoms, just to stop going in first pick all of the time. He can be good, but you definitely need at least someone combined with him that has a lot of DPS or that can deal with tanks. So let me know what you think are the most underrated and overrated in the comment section below. Don't forget to subscribe and check out my streams. I'll see you guys next time.